Hey everybody, I'm back. Got another tutorial for you here. It's going to be on the Spanish ring knot, which is actually just a 3-part 5-bite Turk's head that has a Gaucho interweave. This is also going to serve as a bit of an intro to the Gaucho interweave as opposed to the herringbone, which is what I did in my last series of videos. And I'm going to take this also to an advanced type video in another segment where we will expand this 3-part 5-bite Turk's head to a 5-part 9-bite Turk's head and continue that on with a Gaucho interweave, and we will end up with something like this right here. Kind of a expansion on the sailor's bracelet that you've seen around. I haven't seen anybody tie one quite this wide. This took me quite a while to figure out how to do. I've been doing this for almost 20 years now, about 18 years, and I've not seen anyone do this. Anyhow, let's get started with the more basic version. Once again, I got my piece of 3/4 inch PVC for a mandrel. I've got about 6 feet of 550 cord here and a Permalock needle. I know I've been using this in my videos. I haven't mentioned what it is, in case you were wondering. It's called a Permalock. It's threaded in the back, and it literally just screws onto the end of your thread here, and it's a very solid connection. I love these things. I get mine from Tandy Leather. You can find them on other sources. Maybe I'll see if I can put a link in the description for them. Anyhow, so to start this knot, it's very similar to the way the pineapple knot or the herringbone interwoven Turk's heads that I did, to the way they start. Coming over, over, and over, just like that. It's the same way it starts. And then coming back into the knot this way, underneath. The next step is what makes it different. Okay, this is where they differ. For the Spanish ring knot, or the 3-part 5-bite Turk's head, which is the base knot, I should say, we're going to take and bring this one underneath this one. So it's just putting a twist in it, just like that. If I can get my fingers out of the way there. So you see, all I did was take the one that was on the right and swap sides with the one on the left, making sure that the right one goes underneath the left one. So this cross right here. Reason for that is because when we come back into the knot, we're going to come under this one, and you want to maintain that over one under one sequence. So we're going to come back into the knot this way. And then the next step is to do the same thing, except the left one goes underneath the right one. Just like that. Okay? And that's going to put a twist all the way back up to your standing end. That's a good thing. We want this because we're going to use this X on the next step. So, coming back into the knot from the right to the left, under, right here. And then we get back to our standing end. Like I was telling you in my other videos, it's not a true Turk's head if your standing end, or if your working end doesn't come up next to your standing end. Okay? So this right here completes the 3-part 5-bite Turk's head. So you can see there's 3 parts, and if you were to count the bites, there are in fact 5 of them. Alright, so continuing on to make this a Spanish ring knot. This is the primer on Gaucho interweaves, and let me clear up a little bit of an issue here. I've heard people refer to a Gaucho interwoven Turk's head as a Gaucho knot. not technically true. There's Gaucho interweave and herringbone interweave on top of Turk's head base knots. They're all Turk's heads. They just have different interweaves on them. The only knot that I know of that's a true Gaucho knot, it's actually tied as a Gaucho interweave, there's no base knot on it, is a headhunter's knot. And I'll be doing a video on that later. That's kind of a more advanced knot than these are. So, the reason I'm taking this back out is because a Gaucho interweave starts off differently than a herringbone, where a herringbone would come up next to the standing end and you'd form a pair and so on and so forth. A Gaucho comes up on the other side of the standing end. So you actually have to cross your standing end this way when you complete this Turk's head here to begin a Gaucho interweave. And that's true of all Gaucho interwoven Turk's head knots. This is step one, okay? Now, for the Spanish ring knot, we're going to come back into the knot here, and we're going to go over two. Okay? Under one to come back in the knot. This is also true of Gaucho interwoven Turk's heads in that exiting the knot, you cross two. You go over two to exit the knot. That'll be more evident in the advanced section of this video when I get into that sailor's bracelet style or very large Turk's head. It's actually based on a 5-part 9-bite Turk's head. So, going over two to exit the knot and under one to come back into it. Going over two, and you'll see we're about to come to a pair. So as we're entering the knot, we're just going to go under both of those to split that pair right there. Okay? Sorry about that. So the thing to remember on these knots right here with this Gaucho interweave, this one and especially the next one I'm going to show you, if you ever get lost in the knot, just remember this mantra. It's to split pairs when you come to them and over two to exit the knot, and you should be okay. So we just split a pair, we're going over two to exit the knot. Coming back into the knot, we hit a pair, so we're going to split it. Split a pair as you come to it, and over two to exit the knot. Split a pair as you come to it, and over two to exit the knot. Now we're coming back up next to our standing end, so what we can do is just bring it right up in the center, and because we've come up next to our standing end and we know that a true Turk's head starts and ends at the same place, that means we have a completed Spanish ring knot, which in reality is a 3-part 5-bite Turk's head with a Gaucho interweave. It's a Turk's head tied on top of a Turk's head technically, but that's a little crazy. I don't think of it that way. I just think of the knot with the interweave. It's simpler for me. Alright. And that's the Spanish ring knot. Next video will be expanding the base knot, the 3-part 5-bite, to a 5-part 9-bite.